In a previous video, I mentioned the work I've been concentrating on in my small recording studio, where I built a custom-built amplifier control rack and utilising the Grossman Fatbox isolation cabinet to give me quick control over tonal choices via amplifiers and speaker combinations. And with the recent purchase of the brand new Warm Audio Fentone ribbon microphone, it has made quite a difference, helping to faithfully capture guitar types that tend to have an edgy tone, such as Telecasters and Stratocasters. To capture the audio, I've been using the Scarlett Focusrite audio interface, which it does a very good job, and in fact for the money, it's really good value for money. However, in a bid to try and work in a more traditional, organic way, I decided to see if upgrading the preamp and the signal conversion would make a difference to the quality of the recorded material. Enter two units from the highly respected British audio engineering manufacturer Neve Electronics, and the two units in question, the Neve 88M preamp interface and the Neve 88C compressor. However, old Apple Mac users do pay attention. Hello viewer, my name's Stu, welcome to the channel and my guitar journey. And once again, my opinions, they are my own, and all the gear I talk about is connected to my own guitar music, writing and recording journey, after being away from it all for about 40 years. Now, I'm not being paid to mention any equipment here, but I do try and give a balanced overview in regard to how I use it anyway. Now, if you like the content, please do think about giving a thumbs up, subscribing, commenting below, and do share with others, as it all helps the channel algorithms. So coming up, number one, very briefly, what's in the box and general specifications. Number two, a tone comparison test using different guitars with the Neve 88M up against my Scarlett Focusrite. Number three, a quick look at adding the 88C compressor. And number four, reasons for the purchase of these two units. And this may prove helpful for those of you who record in a similar fashion to myself. In other words, generally, you're a one-man band. And number five, conclusion, final remarks. So without further ado, number one. Yes, my doorbell rings once again, and the courier delivered a fairly large box, and inside a further two boxes. So let's unpack the first one. Now, before I begin, some of you might be new to the British company Neve, so just a brief intro into this iconic company. They were founded in 1961 by Rupert Neve, who is credited for creating the modern mixing console. Now, the company has a long history, and it's right up there when it comes to highly respected manufacturers of studio recording gear. And that classic, what everybody calls the Neve tone, or the Neve vibe. So, moving on to the first box. Here we have the Neve 88M preamp audio interface, and it weighs in at 1.6 kilogram. It feels solid, and it also has a very nice textured finish. As you can see, its layout is fairly simple. On the front panel, you have two channel inputs for both XLR and 1/4-inch jack plugs, with mic, line and DI inputs, which is selected via push button function, pressing in the gain knobs. The gain controls are connected to single LED lamps that brighten and change colour to indicate audio levels coming from green, orange and red. This is known as the traffic light method. Phantom power button there for each channel. The headphone playback section has the input jack for headphones. The large volume knob that you see here controls the loudspeaker outputs. Now, the grey headphone knob also has a push button function to select stereo direct monitoring, stereo mix monitoring, stereo DAW monitoring and mono mix monitoring. At the rear, the panel has 6 balanced 1/4-inch jack sockets, 2 for the main speaker monitor outputs, and the other 4 provide insert sends and returns for the two analog input channels. For example, you see here the 88M preamp unit connected to the 88C compressor unit. There is a USB socket using the older type B socket rather than the newer type C. Now, according to Neve, this was chosen in order to achieve better resilience and long-term reliability. The unit is designed for use with the USB 3 port connections, but it will work with a USB 2 port since USB 3 is backward compatible. But do note that the data transfer speed for USB 2 is 480 megabits, while USB 3 is 5 gigabits. That's about 10 times faster, so depending on what you're doing, this may prove an issue. Apparently, you cannot use a portable USB 2 hub. You would need a powered USB 3 portable hub. And finally, there's an ADAT in and out for further outboard equipment connection or expansion. There's also a K-lock to secure the unit to a desktop. Now, as far as software is required for Mac, it couldn't be simpler. It's just plug and play. You don't need anything. As for Windows PC users, you need to download the appropriate drivers. Now, for me, it's those legendary Neve preamps that I'm going to be looking for, and I was looking forward to seeing what difference this would make to my recording setup and as a replacement to my Focusrite Scarlett, and more on that to come. Now, in the second box, we have the Neve 88C compressor unit, which has been designed to work alongside the Neve 88M, designed with the same outer casing and weighing at 1.3 kilogram. Unlike the 88M, this unit specifically requires USB 3 power, and so for older Mac users, you would need to use a mains-powered USB 3 power adapter. Now, along with these two units, I also ordered 4 TRS cables to link both units together, which you can see here. So number 2, testing the Neve 88M and up against the Focusrite Scarlett. After these short demonstrations, do continue watching to point 4, where I explain my reasons for the Neve preamp purchase for use in my small recording studio. So testing single coil and humbuckers, testing with the Neve 88M alongside the Focusrite Scarlett. Now I'm going to be playing into a Bad Cat Black Cat valve amplifier connected to a Grossman isolation cabinet with a custom Celestion Bad Cat speaker, and the mics are a Shure SM57 and a Warm Audio Fentone ribbon mic. I'll be playing clean chords, scale runs, and the same again, but also using overdrive, and starting with the Scarlett. So did you hear the difference? Well, let me tell you, I could hear the difference here in the studio. And the Neve preamps definitely have a different quality to them. I will say the units reacted differently to the mic'd up speaker cabinet, so balancing out the tones would be needed to try and get them sounding more similar. But they definitely react in a different way. But the thing is, what needs to be considered, that's just one recording track. Now think about multiple layers of recording instruments, and that's where you begin to really hear the difference that the Neve sound makes to the overall production. Now the other point being that you can drive the Neve preamps to get a specific feel, a gentle overdrive, if you will, particularly with guitar and vocals, giving the tone an element of excitement, and yet the recording levels remain within bounds. Something you certainly can't do with a digital interface, as the overdriven signal would just sound terrible. So some points that I have heard raised. Some folks have not been happy with the DI on this unit with regards to heavy driven guitars and having issues with gain overload, even with the gain controls set to absolute zero. Now I have to say, as I don't use the DI section for heavy driven guitar, it's not an issue for me, and all I would say is perhaps this is something that you might want to look into if you use an interface that way. Now you can buy other products that help to bring that level down, if you will. However, what I will say is, if you're recording a loud instrument, a guitar via a loud amplifier setting, then even with the gain controls at zero, they are actually still picking up the sound. Now it's not defective. The amplifier is loud in the studio, and with the control at zero, the DAW meters are actually registering about -20. So a bit unusual, but not actually an issue. I've never come across that before. Usually zero means exactly that, zero. However, as I previously mentioned, even when this unit is showing the LED lights going into the red, the signal is still very good because it's analog. And if you will, it's a place where some people, they actually set the signal to do that, to give character to the instrument or a vocal. Number 3, adding the 88C compressor. I'll look at this along with using it with the 88M in the next video, as it's a bit more involved. But briefly, the Neve 88C compressor is a great companion to the 88M, and both sit well on my desk for easy access and control. So more on the 88C and its operation along with the 88M in conjunction in the next video. Number 4. What was I looking for? And was it worth the cost of replacing my Scarlett? Well, it started out with improving my mic recording setup and the addition of a ribbon mic alongside the Shure SM57 or my Sennheiser MD421 Mark II, giving me the ability to capture the tone I was getting from my amplifier and various speaker choices. And that's the point. I spent months chasing tone, and once finding it, now it was about faithfully getting that tone into my recording DAW. Now the new mic setup was a positive move over my previous setup. Do check that Warm Audio Fentone ribbon review that I did. I was using a Focusrite Scarlett for my preamp interface, and it does a super job. Very, very clean preamps. And again, great little device, particularly for the money. But I wanted to continue that ribbon mic experience, looking for that more organic approach And the 88M with its classic Neve designed high-end preamps, well, that just seemed the natural way to go for me. Now apparently when it was first released, folks made mention of the headphone channel not having enough gain, and all I'll say to that is perhaps that was updated because I've got no problem whatsoever hearing back through the headphones. Another unit I was considering was an outboard compressor to help me just fine-tune my guitar tones depending on the guitars in use before they reached the DAW. But particularly those issues I find, for me anyway, are my Fenders and electroacoustics, where their sharp tones can just be a wee bit challenging. I'm not trying to remove their classic sounds, just seeking to round out some of those more challenging frequencies. And it's then that I saw Neve had recently introduced the 88C compressor unit, which was a companion to the 88M. How I use all of this is fairly straightforward, and I'm looking to try and get the tone that I can hear in my studio faithfully reproduced straight into the DAW recording track, and from that point any adjustments, enhancements or effects are just icing on the cake, so to speak. So that's why I bought these and how I use them. Number 5, final remarks. So all in all, I'm very pleased with both of these units. They appear to be well made, and they don't take up much room on my desk. Now I've not had them for long, but I am sure that they should last for many years to come. The classic Neve sound, yes, I can definitely hear those preamps and the way the 88M converts the signal. It's just got that organic, characterful sound. It's similar, I suppose, to comparing a digital amp with a high quality valve amplifier. There's a warmth and a feel that I like. I'm not going to sell off the Scarlett. It's without doubt a very good interface, simple to use, and it's great at recording a clean signal capture, and it has good conversion. So it's handy to keep in the cupboard. Now I mentioned about those who use older Macs. So I'll be doing a video on this, as I had to recently bring yet another Mac into the studio, and that being the M4 Max Studio. Now I have 3 very highly spec'd out Mac Pro cheese grater style models here in my edit studio, which are still in constant use, but an upgrade has been on the cards for some time, and after much deliberation I bought in a M4 Max Studio, and I'll explain why that particular model in a video to come. So of course, even using the very best gear is not going to help a poor performance, and so plenty practice needed before recording, and of course special attention making sure that guitars being used are intonated and well set up. If you've got any questions or you'd like me to make a video on a particular music related topic, then do let me know. Comment below or private message me and I'll see what I can do. Do check out my channel playlists, where you can find many videos regarding my journey back to playing and recording guitar after a 40-year break. Lots of stuff on guitars, amplifiers, pedals, and you might find some of those things very helpful. A big thank you to all those who take time to comment or chat. People do chat to me privately. I always take time to engage with folks, so thank you for commenting. And until next time, the journey continues. Take care, folks.